is a shortened biography of Mr. Alik Berg, who was an Estonian-Finnish aristocrat, medical doctor, missionary, and ultimately a martyr. His original name and official name was Alexis Friedrich Berg. He was born into a Baltic German aristocratic family in Estonia in the Sangaste castle in May 1904. Because he was his family's oldest son, he became officially a count, but he never wanted to be called a count. He began his education in the Riga Gymnasium in Latvia. Because of the First World War's violent final stages, he, his parents, and his younger brother fled to London, Britain. There he studied at Weymouth College. Shortly after he had begun to study there, he went into a students' Christian meeting, and there he asked Jesus Christ to forgive his sins. Godfrey Webb People, later missionary to India, was one of the Christian students who prayed for Alik. A couple of years later, Alik became a more deeply committed Christian. Before graduating from Weymouth College in 1921, and before returning to Estonia with his family, he was baptized by immersion in the English Channel. Right after the Berg family had returned to Estonia, Alik's mother and younger brother, who had actively attended church with him in London, stopped going to church. Alik held on to his faith, and he was confirmed in the city of Tartu in southern Estonia. He continued his studies at the University of Tartu, at the University of Göttingen in Germany, and finally at the University of Helsinki in Finland. And in 1924 he moved to Finland, where he would stay until he left for London in 1938 to become a medical missionary to China. In Helsinki, the Finnish capital, he joined the Andreas Kyrkan, or Andrews Church, a Swedish-language evangelical free church congregation. He eagerly attended its meetings and the meetings of the international Christian youth organization Christian Endeavor. He also participated in street and poor people's ministries. In 1930 he graduated as a medical doctor. Later that year he was accepted as the municipal medical doctor of the town of Tohmajärvi in northern Karelia, eastern Finland. Even as the municipal medical doctor of Tohmajärvi, he courageously and lovingly witnessed about Christ. He got engaged with Miss Signe Taubert, a Bachelor of Medicine, in Tohmajärvi in 1933. Also, she was a devout Christian. Some local nominal Christians complained about Dr. Berg's evangelism to the Bishop of Viipuri, Mr. Erkki Kaila, who then visited Tohmajärvi. After Dr. Berg openly told Bishop Kaila about his evangelical faith and his believer's baptism, Bishop Kaila blessed him. When leaving Tohmajärvi, Bishop Kaila told his local escorts that he congratulated the local Lutheran church because the municipal medical doctor was a true Christian. Sometime later, Dr. Berg and his wife Signe moved to the city of Joensuu, which is northern Karelia's largest city. There they continued to work as medical doctors and regularly attended the Joensuu Evangelical Free Church. In many informal social gatherings of Christians, Dr. Berg asked if he could read an edifying passage of the Bible. He got the permission virtually always, and his informal Bible studies or lessons edified the Christians who were present. In the spring of 1937, at a students' meeting in Turku, an old missionary declared that Christ the King was calling some people present to become missionaries. Dr. Berg felt at that moment that God was calling him to become a missionary to China. Dr. Berg and his wife left for China in September 1938, but they first went to London, Britain, and then in January 1939 they left by ship for China via the Mediterranean Sea. They went to China because they felt that Christ was calling them to serve as missionaries there, although there was a violent civil war being fought in China. They were originally missionaries of the Norwegian Lutheran Church, but later at least Dr. Alik Berg became a missionary of the Evangelical Covenant Church of America. They finally arrived to China either in the spring or the summer of 1939. Their original mission field in China was in Laocohou. In 1945, the Japanese army launched its final great offensive, and the Bergs had to flee, along with their fellow missionaries, to southwestern China. At the end of the Second World War, they tried to return to Finland, but Britain refused to grant them a visa. Then they returned to Laocohou in order to rebuild its destroyed missions station. They had to work almost alone because most other missionaries had left the region. In October 1947, they left Laocohou and moved to Xiangqiang. On January the 7th, 1948, Dr. Alik Berg and two American medical missionaries, Miss Esther Nordlund and Miss Martha Anderson, departed by car to attend a meeting of the missionary board. They were all missionaries of the American Evangelical Covenant Church. A furious group of communists stopped their car, shouting, "The Americans have no right to live." Dr. Berg refused to state his nationality in order to protect his American fellow missionaries. The communists took away their clothes and shoes and beat them. Finally, they murdered those missionaries by shooting them. Dr. Berg was only 43 years old when he was murdered.